Hello and welcome to the Tyrant In Training podcast. I am the sycophantic host Kevin Ryan. This podcast has a guest on each week to be the tyrannical ruler of grown people. Today's guest is comedian and impersonator J-L Cauvin. J-L is also the same size as the tallest world leader, that of course being the president of Montenegro. Both are standing at 6'7", so imagine Natalie Portman on a 12-inch unicycle, and that's exactly what J-L is. Anyway, here are some out of context tyrannical quotes from J-L.
I'm a savvy dictator. I would appreciate maybe not going into the Pale Purge part of the origin story. And this is once again where I'm showing you the chess game as a dictator that I'm playing. He punches you right in the face. Me and Selma Hayek have this very deep, passionate kiss that like shocks the audience because it's like, oh, wow, she wasn't helping Batman.
You can find this podcast on Twitter at tyrant_podcast. You can also find me there and on Instagram under the name at @KevRyanPerson. If you want to listen to more episodes of this stupid little silly podcast, then you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, and anywhere else where sexy and single podcasts are at home and waiting for your call. Thank you for listening to this one. You were telling me that your island could come down hard on entertainment, right? Bad entertainment might be allowed.
Yeah, there's going to be, we're a cultural sort of center of the world. I think we're going to be known for where should I start? Because I was already thinking of location, because I know
we'll get into location, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can.
But I think my island would probably be sort of, maybe our mantra would be like culture, manners, hedonism. Like on our flag or our crest.
Hedonism is just like what's the word?
Las Vegas. Think Las Vegas.
I'm trying to think. What's one of the deadly sins? Is it hedonism? No, where you just
lust.
You're going for lust.
Hedonism might be a little strong, to be honest, but I feel like it gets the maybe passion, culture, manners, passion, something like that.
Yeah,
would be the ethos of our island.
Passion culture sounds like a politician trying to cover for hedonism.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. I'm a savvy dictator, tyrant. I'm a savvy tyrant. I'm educated in the finest schools. I'm cultured. I come from my mother is Irish American. My father was Haitian. So I come from, I'm bringing a lot to the table.
By the way, do you know whereabouts in Ireland her side of the family?
Fermanagh in northern Ireland.
It's just because some of where I'm from, there's a lot of counties that apparently are rivals in the Irish sports. So I'm wondering. I was like, I need to be against you, but Fermanagh is fine.
Without getting into anything, I know that my mom told me my grandfather, who I never met, he passed away 2 years before I was born, but he it always, I think, irked him that his passport said British citizen.
Oh, really? Yeah, I suppose, yeah, you'd have. I do. I think Fermanagh is pretty good at Gaelic football, though. So you can, Gaelic football. If you're in Ireland, go for that. Or, at least pretend to support it and they might get fair. Okay, so wait, I'm going to bring up a map here with this fancy new laptop. That it should do it immediately. And so you're going for hedonism cultural center. You said
we're changing it back to passion
and culture. And you said you're a sexy dictator.
Savvy dictator.
Oh, sorry.
I want my subjects to call me sexy, but I don't want to say it myself. It's not sexy if you call yourself. I'm savvy, I'm cultured, I'm well mannered. Our island is sort of a cultural hotspot in the world.
Are we going for a hot part of the world? I have the official global map up there.
Sure. Well, I'm not a super internationally traveled fellow, so what I've thought is, because the weather in San Diego is considered so nice in America, that I was going to, and I have an origin story if that's
love it. Yes.
Basically, we've basically basically separated a large chunk of San Diego into a man-made island.
Well,
the big one hits California. San Diego sort of separates from the mainland and becomes its own sort of island.
Well,
and then I claim it.
Well, one thing. Okay,
So usually, what I do, what I'd say to a guest is, well, we won't take over any island. We will build you an island. We'll pop up one.
Oh,
But I'm just a bit curious when you say the big one hits. What's the big one?
the earthquake that everybody thinks will eventually hit California
So
one day.
that
That'll
hits
be like,
California.
yes.
We're going to
Do
sidestep
I
all the
know if
carnage.
San Diego is on a fault? I have no idea if San Diego is even on a fault line, but in our history textbooks, when we teach the history of
We
my
claim
island,
it.
that's what happened. Whether or not we detonated it ourselves,
Is
the history is written by the victors,
yeah.
and we are beneficiaries of a natural disaster.
The answer to that secret, is that buried in a vault anywhere on your island, or are we just saying no?
We have parchment made as our founding documents, and that will be written in sort of, like not city hall, our equivalent of Washington D.C., our sort of center of governmental power. There, tourists can come see it and take pictures and whatnot.
You have this island that, and with the origin story, you jumped in there by saying you saw an opportunity, which was the big one. And you now have your own island, and San Diego is no more. Yeah, we can go with that. I like that you saw your opportunity. Do you have a name for it though? Are you calling it San Diego or
no? The name of it, and it's sort of a test also for the citizens and visitors. My name JL stands for Jean-Louis.
Jean-Louis? Yes.
Now Jean in the French spelling is Jean.
Right.
So I thought about calling it Jeanland, and everybody who calls it, and if you call it Jeanland, you are denied entry or expelled.
If you call it Jeanland, you're just
if you mispronounce it, because as Supreme Leader, benevolent tyrant that I am, I'm still burned by the thousands of people who've called me Gene Lewis all my life. So
yes,
as a cultural center, you want people who can pronounce French words and French names.
Yeah.
So it's sort of it's an easy litmus test to at least gain entry or be blocked from entering.
Do you want to? I know there's going to be 10 million people who live on Jeanland, and I am going to screw this up as a completely illiterate idiot. I am going to not be allowed in this island at some point. But if you're going to have 10 million people who are going to live there, do you want us to really make a drive to get a lot of, the French over? Do we really try and hit Paris and say, look, come on over to Jeanland?
No, I'm not. As a biracial person, I'm actually going to be giving priority access to beige people. So it can be Brazilian, it can be biracial, it can be Latino. We want everybody, but we want, we want a population that speaks to the future. The joke is always that the future is going to be sort of a beige coloring as everybody mixes, and we want to be on the forefront of that. So we're gonna just like other countries might give priority to technically skilled workers, in like tech fields or science, we give priority to beige colored people. So it's not specific to any race. It's just that's the tone. We want to look like the future now because we're trend setting. We're a cultural
you're getting ready,
trend setting nation. Right. So we want a lot of Selma Hayeks exactly. That's what we're looking. And speaking of which, my security team, the one inspiration I take from Gaddafi is that my security team will be 10 highly trained, attractive Latin, like a Selma Hayek type, but 10 to 15 of them guarding me at all times.
What weapons would they have? Would they have guns, or are you relying on the hand-to-hand combat?
They will have. I'm not a big fan of guns, to be honest. That's sort of the irony as a strongman. My guards will have guns, but the country will be largely a gun-free zone.
Right. Well, they'll go high-powered though, right? They're not just simple little guns. They are.
I kind of want them actually. I don't know if you play video games. I kind of want my Salma Hayek guards dressed like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. So I think they'll have handguns.
Yeah.
They'll have handguns. Just a big gun is blocking the natural beauty.
Yeah.
I want a bazooka on her shoulder. I just want her to have a sexy sexy pistol that she can access quickly.
So okay, so are we calling them Selmas or are we calling them Hayeks? Is that just
That's Hayex. I like
Hayeks
using the
kind of works
last
better.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be
But with
honest.
an X at the end, like for the plural.
Oh,
And that
so
adds kind of a sexiness to it.
Hi, and then just replace the K with an X. I've done that.
Yes.
I'll get that on the uniform. So be honest, the Irish aren't getting onto this. A lot of the Irish aren't getting onto this island, are they? I mean, I am as white as the wall.
Yeah, it might maybe a Gabriel Byrne or a Colin Farrell after a sunny vacation.
Right.
Maybe they can absorb. Like my mom is not getting on the island. Nor would I want her to see me surrounded by 15 armed Salma Hayeks.
Wait, you said 10 a minute ago. Now it's 15. You're recruiting every day.
Well, it's 10 to 15. It's 10, for high level events, we're going to need the full 15, but my day-to-day guards 10.
So what? There's 5 part-time Hayeks / Tomb
Right, like
Raider bodyguards.
that's your backup. That's your backup squad. That's your, because we want to save some. We don't want to always be killing the budget with maximum security detail if it's not necessary.
It's not often, but I do have a little moderately sized bone to pick about this. But before I address it, I need to find out what is your official title, because I need to come with a complaint.
My official height?
No, your official title, and I will take
my
your
title.
Height. Yeah.
Oh, my title is my title officially is Supreme Leader, but my nickname in the streets is the Tower.
Why the Tower? Oh, is this about the height? What's the height?
Yeah, I'm 6'7".
Geez, are you actually 6'7"?
Yeah.
Ah, fair enough.
So the Tower, I feel like it can be a compliment, but it can also instill, a measure of dominance and power.
Is your island windy? Because I'd be nervous about a tower if it's windy.
No, it's a breeze, a light. It's beautiful weather.
So you waver, you waver a little, but you're fine.
I'm structurally built to not break.
Yeah,
I bend with the wind.
You can see on windy days some of the Hayeks just holding you, just to keep you sturdy. Just
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Supreme Leader. Do they call you the Tower to your face, or is it Supreme Leader we're meant to call you?
My friends call me the Tower, and sort of, the tabloid newspapers can refer to me as like the Tower. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I go by. You don't have to call me Supreme Leader. You can call me. You just call me Mr. or Sir. But like my official title.
Okay.
In the founding documents of the country is, you're the Supreme Leader.
Well, I suppose you'd get a letter saying Supreme Leader. There is an issue here that it seems like you said you had 10 Hayex guards, but then sometimes you have 15. And I'm worried that you don't have them on full-time contract, that you're giving them like 5-hour guaranteed a week contracts, which I just don't.
Oh, no. They're all employed. This is when I say, you have just like, there's more people in the Secret Service than just guard Joe Biden. He'll have some rotation.
Okay.
In other words, my day-to-day is like 10. It doesn't have to be this. It's not the same 10. And then there's office work to be done. There's, they've got to work out. They've got to stay fit and
you give them
sexy.
time off for that.
So,
yes.
Yeah. And it's all part of the job. But like, I'm just saying for like a state address, or a visiting diplomat, or if I'm going abroad to meet with an ally, the 15 are coming with me. We're getting the whole 15.
Do you plan on recruiting any more? Are you expanding?
Oh, sure.
Always?
Oh, no, there's always, you don't want them to retire when they're still able, but obviously you need to keep having fresh recruiting classes.
Right.
Considering our criteria for who can enter the country, it seems like we will have a steady supply of attractive beige women.
I hate to turn this podcast immediately into objectifying women. However, I need to ask, do they even have
it's not
names?
It's empowering. What I tell my people is I'm empowering women. Somebody from the outside might call it objectifying, but in my island nation, it's empowering.
Well, what I was thinking of, I was referring to myself, because my next question was going to be, do these bodyguards actually have names? Like, are we calling them by their names? I know they're called Hayex guards, but is it just they're all interchangeable to the Supreme Leader?
No, they all have their own individual names, but obviously they'll
Thankfully.
have sort of military code names.
For example?
Stacked, Stacked would be one.
Right, okay, I can get, I know her.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Is there, I was looking for another one. Just need two there to email.
Curves.
I so want, this is ridiculous. I want to go through the whole 15, but I realize I have so many questions, and I'm just going to get, this podcast will be a waste of just me going through Stacked and Curves. They're some of the best. Okay, right, you have your bodyguard set up. Where are you living? Whereabouts?
I'm living in sort of, I don't want to live in a house.
Right.
This is the one thing. I'm not a Trump fan, but I would be living more in a Trump Tower sort of situation, like government. The Hayeks would live in this building. Some of my most trusted government advisors and people would live in sort of not a giant tower, not like a 60-story building, but just sort of part of a complex. But I would prefer to live in like a duplex penthouse overseeing
a hotel.
Jeanland.
It's
not a hotel.
Oh, okay. No,
it's not. No, just it's a regular building, but it's sort of a government
high walls and everything
building almost.
Proper defenses.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
bulletproof glass.
Just everywhere,
but
just around like a dome.
No, not a dome. It would just be because it would be aesthetically pleasing because it's more presenting because we are a cultural capital. We want to present sort of a 22nd century look, almost like a Dubai. It'd be like, a Hong Kong, a Dubai kind of look to the place. And I would simply be in sort of a central tower overseeing, my home would be overseeing a 360 view of my island.
So your house is
which some might say would make me vulnerable, but no, we've already planned for elite security apparatus.
So you have like helicopters flying around and everything. Your defense is perfect.
No helicopters. I make me nervous. So there'd be no helicopters. It would just be the flights would be heavily regulated.
Balloons.
It's just in and off the island. That's the only way you can fly. You don't.
Right. You can't go.
In our Hayex military, our Hayex Air Force, which would be a different group of 20 highly trained hot pilots, would be prepared, in the event that an enemy wants to, God forbid, try to use an aerial assault on the island. They would intercept.
I can't. I'm still stuck in so with the Hayek Air Force, I get the bodyguards because they're going to be around you all the time. And hey, you want to look at something nice. But if they're if you're a pilot, you're in a plane that's 30,000 feet above you, flying at 200 miles per hour. I mean, you're not going to really be able to go, oh, they look nice.
No, but when they land and they get out and they whip the hair out of the helmet, it's going to inspire the nation to be like, oh, look at they're great pilots and they're beautiful. It's just sort of a feel good story.
But I thought when you said inspire them, I was like, but your people are going to go, look at those beautiful pilots that I will never look like.
No! Our country is full of beautiful people. That's why we have no shortage of talent to pick from.
Okay.
It's not like the only beautiful people are pilots and security. The island is.
What are the beautiful men doing?
The 10 that we allow out of the 10 million.
Oh well, yes, exactly that. Okay. Those 10, yeah.
No. The men of the country are also part of our military, part of our. They're making music, they're making art, they're
for the military.
No, not in the. I'm saying these are all they are doing whatever they want. Our main industries in the country are arts and military.
Cultural, although I suppose it does kind of have a Spartan view of the cultural center, right? It's like
like we need to defend our main, this is our resource, our most precious natural resource is our music, our culture, our film. So we have to protect that. It's almost like it's like a well-mannered beige Hollywood. That's really what we're going for.
We're putting that on the welcome sign. Well-mannered beige Hollywood. I'll write that down. These notes just get weirder and weirder. Do you have a throne room since you're the Supreme Leader? Well-mannered.
No, there's no. I don't really I don't want the old trappings of dictatorship, and I want to be kind of a modern, a slick modern tyrant that doesn't make someone think of the old tyrants,
Yeah.
thumbs down, executing people, like feed me my grapes kind of vibe.
Right.
I want more of a strong, dynamic CEO kind of a tyrant.
Oh, okay. So you want like a boardroom or something? Like I'm just thinking of when you have to meet a delegate, they come along and you have to take the.
A
So you want a
boardroom
boardroom?
where I'm at the head of a table, but I'm not at the. I don't need to be elevated. I'm usually going to be the tallest person in the room anyway.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you don't have to overcompensate. So when you say head of the table, is it one of those long tables where you're at the head of it, or is it just like a business? What they call it in the Oval Office?
Conference. No, I mean I'll have one of those in my office, but when I meet with people, it'll be at the head of a conference table.
Have you seen the photos? It's a while back. I'm sure he still has the same table, but there was photos of Vladimir Putin at the start of the war with Ukraine, where he was meeting people, but it was always this ridiculously long table that they were at the end of. So would you have that same situation where you'd make someone sit at the other end?
No, that only for, once again, Putin is old school tyrant. Only if I have a meeting with my team, the team
and they're lined
where
up,
you need it. Otherwise, we'll have, the office will be of a more one-on-one power meeting or a two-on-two sort of power. Because you don't want to look ridiculous. You don't want to look like you're overcompensating. You don't want to look ridiculous. So, optics matter in a culture, arts, new 22nd century kind of tyrant. Optics matter.
Yeah, you can't go with the old
set the trend for new tyrant. You want to be the one setting the tone for what a new tyrant looks like, not look at me improving or doing what the old ones.
What really annoyed me with the with that Putin long table stuff was he was sitting at the top of the table, and then the two people who were in the room were at the very other end, but they were at the sides. They weren't at the very opposite to him. But what really annoyed me was
kind of like the testicles of a long penis, and Putin was the head.
Yes, he's the
very
head
phallic.
of this wooden phallic penis table. And what really annoyed me about it was that one of the two people who were sitting down at one of the balls, right behind them was the 50-inch TV, right? But surely that means then if something came on, if they said, "Oh, quick, turn on the news," America's after giving up or something they really want to see, they'll turn on the TV, and now Putin at the very end or the top of the table has a rubbish view. So now he needs to awkwardly move. And I'm like, that's just terrible placement for you.
Right.
And I just don't, I did.
This is what happens when you have a tyrant built on an old system that we like I said, dynamic, charismatic tyranny is what I'm going for. Where people will see me and just, as long as they're not on the wrong end of what I want, they're just going to be like, we've got this basically fresh, exciting CEO running things with confidence, with, we are a respected nation, we're a beloved nation, because it starts from the top down, and I would be presenting just an inspiring, confident, large presence for the country and the world to look to.
What I actually like about this Supreme Leader, I feel like at the very least, you are attempting to kind of marry royalty like the old-fashioned way with head CEO, powerful businessman, kind of like Lex Luthor meets Julius Caesar in a way. No, not so much Julius Caesar, but yeah.
Which, by the way, JL are my initials. So
Julius
you get Julius and Lex.
Can people call you that? In a comic, if they make a comic book about you. Well, inspired by you.
I mean, interesting enough, my initials are JLC, so you have Julius, Lex, and Caesar in there, and I think it would be more of sort of a hybrid, kind of the power and charisma of a Julius Caesar with the kind of tech savvy, more modern Lex Luthor approach to things. And I will say this, I already know, because I know you've asked before about advisors or like what the structure of government would be. I can tell you right now that since nepotism doesn't matter, my older brother would be my chief of staff, if we can use that term, my right hand
I really
person.
good, but yeah.
if he actually is the type of person where if he had my size and charisma and vision, he'd be actually a more effective leader. But we don't, but instead he'd be perfect in the role of nuts and bolts, getting, just being my gatekeeper for everything. Because I trust him, right? I trust him completely. And I trust him actually to be better at that stuff than me. I would be more of the leader, but he'd be, it's the difference between the president of the company and the CEO and the COO. He would be the COO, and I'd be the CEO.
So you're saying your older brother can handle the job, he'll be good at it, and you see no threat in him taking over. He's just not capable.
No, and that's why I wouldn't trust if it wasn't my brother.
Yes,
I might not trust that level of access and power to anybody else, but with him, I think he would just see this as the family legacy. He would just be furthering the family legacy, acknowledging that me as a big charismatic leader serves that role that he couldn't in terms of inspiring and motivating the people to follow this benevolent dictatorship. Whereas,
so you don't think there's you're not going to have any sort of voting. It's just my brother's in charge of the admin and stuff and whoever he's hiring.
I don't think we are open to changes, but as of now, I see no reason. The reason everybody bought in is because my vision and execution for Jeanland was so, George Washington could have become president for life if he had wanted to.
Yeah.
But he opted to give the young democracy in America, to set the trend of I will relinquish power and that will send the trend. I take a different approach, which is I've created this nation basically myself. And you all bought in to what we were doing and have seen it as a success. So there's really no need to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is kind of our governing philosophy.
Right, so I'm just making sure. I'm just writing down here, and I'll make sure to put it into the when I put a tweet out about this. You're just saying, George Washington, you're a coward. I know what to do with my own country. You're stating that as an American citizen.
Okay. I will say, because we don't want to be at war with America or have, we export a lot of our art to Netflix and other platforms in America.
Into the office, like
what?
The music. You mean into their offices, like
no, in
paintings.
terms of we're making art. When I say art, I mean art in general, whether it's painting, music, film, television.
Oh, okay.
So So I wouldn't insult America by calling their founding president a coward. I would simply say, perhaps if George Washington didn't create America himself, basically, by a force of will, genius, he was the leader. And so he took a leadership role. But I'm more, at this point, quasi-deity in terms of the foundation of this island, this land, this country. So it's a little bit different than just, I was the military leader that gained us our freedom. It's like, I sort of created this and am there. So it's not that George Washington is a coward. He just didn't do for America what I did. Yeah, I wouldn't phrase it like that in behind closed doors. Yes, George Washington is sort of, he did a good job for what he was doing, but what I've done is a whole other level.
Just wondering, when you said about making movies and stuff, and you're making stuff for Netflix, I don't know, I assume more studios, but I'm just curious, what is your favorite movie or your favorite movie franchise?
I'll give you 3.
Yeah,
if I may.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Amadeus, 1984 Best Picture, my favorite movie, and it was my favorite movie when I was 8, and it's my favorite movie at 43. I just think it's just, to me, it's such a brilliant and perfect movie that works on so many levels, on just a enjoyable, almost period comedy, as a look at, I consider Mozart almost the first pop star.
Yes.
In terms of like his music for classical music is like catchy almost. It's like the man was, you're talking about just sort of a singular genius in like the fact that we're 300 years after his life, and it's like he still has festivals every year, and it's just so amazing. So Amadeus, The Godfather,
Yeah.
and The Dark Knight, the second in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. I give you those three.
I'm just curious, what did you think of the Dark Knight Rises then?
I think it was victimized by the fact that it followed The Dark Knight.
Right.
I think after watching it again years later, I was like, well, I enjoy it. I like it a lot. It's an ambitious, well-made movie, but The Dark Knight to me was just this, like, you can't exceed perfect. If somebody's made like a perfect movie, even if they meet if they meet that level, which they didn't, but if they met that level, you're still kind of going to be disappointed because you're like, but I want it to end higher. Like I want you made perfect. Well, I want more than perfect because that's the trajectory I'm on. So those would be three movies that would those would be the first three entries into our sort of the film wing of our Culture Hall of Fame, which is a very popular tourist destination.
You're getting a lot of tourists in for it. I actually do have some bad news to throw towards the Supreme Leader.
I felt like you were going to have some bad news.
Yeah, I mean, you're running the country, so you have to go.
Sure.
You have to deal with the good and the bad. But there is a scandal about to break out involving you that your citizens are going to find out about. The great thing is that you, for some reason, I don't know how to phrase this question, but you get to decide what the scandal is. So, remembering that this is a light entertainment podcast, what scandal does everyone find out about involving the Supreme Leader?
They find out that there's a rumor that two of the Hayex are simultaneously pregnant, and the rumor is that they are both my children.
Okay.
And because they are, the country doesn't like that. It turns out, in fact, that and this is the great way to deal with this. I neither confirm nor deny that they are mine, but my brother is already willing to take responsibility.
Okay, so
and that's how we solve it.
So what I was going to say is that Anderson, who is the top reporter in the country, he was hoping to do a sort of Frost Nixon interview with you at a sit down. So I mean, if he's sitting down saying, "Supreme Leader, thank you very much for coming. We want to get into the economy and all the great movies that you're exporting, but we do have to talk about Hayek Gate, unfortunately. Your approval ratings was 98.4. It's gone down now to 47. A lot of people don't like the idea of pregnancy. They are big fans of condoms and contraception. So you have two of your guards, Busty and Bum. Busty and Bum are many months pregnant. I'm so sorry for those names. It's I mean, people say it's the kids are yours. Why?
I would say, well, I obviously have nothing but the most respect for the great work that the Hayex do keeping me safe. I would not violate that sanctity. Obviously, we are a country that believes in a less puritanical view of relationships. That's part of the appeal of our country. But I would never violate the trust and security relationship that we have by making it personal. I can say, with his permission, that my brother is actually in a committed throuple with both Hayex. And so it is, it's not ideal, obviously, for the simultaneous pregnancy. I can see how that looks, very Nick Cannon-esque, but in fact, I had nothing to do with it. I support my brother, who obviously most people know is in many ways the engine that drives our government.
It's crucial, yeah.
And as has not been reported by Anderson, there is absolutely no indication that these were anything but completely consensual encounters.
Oh God, yes.
With my brother.
No, we're not going. Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, there is accusations that your bed is a king, queen size bed. And we don't know where the rest of Busty, Bum, and the rest of them where they sleep. So I mean, can you answer some of these things?
Stacked is my personal, but who never leaves my side when she is on duty. So Stacked actually does stay in my bed for security reasons.
She stays in the king, king, queen, king, 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 queen, queen,
Right.
king size bed. Okay.
Yeah, and it's plenty big enough. She has her own area of the bed,
Her own Wi-Fi.
and obviously during security drills, she covers me.
Right. Okay. How long?
Like
How
a
many?
human,
How often
like
are
a
these drills?
twice a night
How long do
because
they last?
on a good night, 8 minutes.
Mine last longer. Yes. 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 We're strictly talking podcast. Yeah, 8 minutes. So 16 minutes a night. You can guarantee.
Just a human shield. It's called the human shield, the Hayek
Yes.
human shield, the
Hayek human
HHS
HHS.
exercise.
It's also a boat, isn't it?
So,
HHS, her highness. Okay, so you have one, and the other 14 are not in the room at all. You can guarantee that.
no, I mean they are nearby, obviously, because I am the supreme leader. But stacked is the sort of, that's the person who, if God forbid somebody were to take a shot at me,
She's
it
willing
might be
to give her life.
stacked. Who, well, fortunately, she's called stacked because of her ample bosom, and I think she might actually be able to survive a bullet wound because of the depth of her chest.
So you're saying you're not okay? So she is just trying to aim her boobs at a bullet in any situation.
Well, her torso is gonna, obviously if somebody hits her in the stomach or the leg it's she graduated, there's a reason she graduated first in her class from, Hayex Academy.
She took a grenade like that scene in Captain America where he dives on the grenade.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah, I remember the documentary. So you can guarantee that your brother is a father to 2 kids. You have nothing to do with it.
I mean, he has, we have a signed affidavit from him. He has issued a press statement that he is the father. So I think there's no real need to go any further into it.
Sorry, he signed. Sorry, who is Alpha David? Is that another child?
No.
Who's he signed?
A legal document. He signed an affidavit, just confirming that it's his. Those are his children. And obviously, even if a DNA test were to be done, we obviously have very, very similar DNA. So if somebody, it's
that's not a guilty thing to just point out. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Well, I hope your brother and I suppose your nephews Alpha and David, I hope they're very happy in the tower. And yeah, that's very nice. Thank you very much for your time here discussing Hayek Gate. We can't get into the other issues, but thank you, Supreme Leader. And that's Anderson off for an ad break. Actually, Anderson might point out during the ad break. While you're here,
yes, sir,
we might do a little bit of a propaganda documentary for you. Just to I think that went really well, but just to make people, like what they're seeing. Now, do you want us to make up any fantastical fact about you that we can really push, get people believing?
I don't know that, I think obviously, even though we're not sort of a puritanical country, we do have some faith. We have a sort of a genesis story of our own, which is that the big one struck. Sorry?
The band?
The band?
Genesis? Isn't that a band?
It is a band,
yeah.
but
so
I meant the Bible.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
And the big one that, the big one that struck San Diego, it happened to be while I was there performing a large stand-up show.
Yes.
And when the big one hit, the only people that survived in the immediate vicinity were me and the people attending my stand-up show.
Good tickets.
And as the San Diego area just sort of drifted into the Pacific slightly, people sort of realized that they had witnessed something. And this is why I say I'm less George Washington, more a George Washington meets Moses meets Christ type figure.
Was any of them comedians doing stand-up?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I get that. Yeah, I thought there was another.
But
connection.
Jesus did speak in front. He was a charismatic of speaker. And Moses led people and was the center of attention in many ways. And he had his set list. He had his 10 commandments set list with him. So basically, I think what people saw was this divine origin story that obviously I was somebody was sort of blessed in a certain way. And then we quickly kind of established a new nation in international waters off the coast. And it was almost like everything I decided just sort of worked out. And at some point it can't be luck. At some point there's a divine hand at work.
Working through you.
Yeah, exactly. And I always like to say, the most humble thing you can say is that this isn't me. It was a higher power simply choosing me out of 7 or 8 billion people. To bring about this sort of beige cultural utopia. So it's not me. I say this with the utmost humility. I can't take credit. I was simply chosen out of 8 billion people to be the vessel through which this amazing place could and I was then blessed with sort of leadership skills and having been a lawyer and also having been a stand-up comedian, I have a unique developed skill set to entertain, to lead a people. So
we on this documentary, we're really going to hit hard that origin story, right? We're going to call this documentary the Jean Diego Miracle. We're going to really, put that, right?
Wow.
There you go.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. No rewrites on that title.
I will write that screenplay and I will send it to you. And I've come up with worse ideas, so I will. This is completely
obviously and if I may, we do have to sort of, in this propaganda film, I would appreciate maybe not going into the Pale Purge part of the origin story.
Wait, was there an actual purge, or is that one like the movie, or an actual like?
It was. We gave the sort of paler people a chance to leave of their own free will, and many people did.
Underwater, several thousand feet, and never return.
No. Like boats and everything. We're not, but they were given a deadline. That
how many minutes was the deadline?
Oh no, it was 1 month. We were But some people insisted, I own this home. My family, has had this land for 3 generations, and those were the stubborn people. Yeah. And we'll leave it at that. We don't want to get into that part for sort of positive propaganda.
We don't. I don't think you can really. Yeah, you can't really call it the Jean Diego Miracle. It's mostly about bloody genocide.
The Jean Diego Miracle is obviously the origin, and then but then to get to where we are, there was massacre. Kind of there's a middle course that was a little rougher.
The Revenge of the Sith part, if you will, the darker period, and then
exactly.
That's
and then and now we're in the New Hope. Now it's a New Hope.
Yes, we can title these chapters like that as well. I don't think Disney can sue us, so we can just do that.
They can't.
By the way, this is a little bit off topic of the podcast, but you know how you said about you had Jesus in history, who's very obviously good speaker. Whatever you want to say about religion, it's clearly a good speaker because he got so many people following him. Do you know a good speaker will obviously much better than me, and they will be to the point, charismatic, know what they're talking about. And one of the things is they'll be entertaining. They might even be a bit funny, just naturally, charmingly funny. If that's a given, do you think Jesus would have told some good jokes? Like genuinely, he might have come out with some belters that are just lost history because the Bible didn't include them.
Right, because they wanted everything had to be very serious. But I'm sure, he was like any good comedian. I think what was impressive about Jesus also was that he was divisive. And I think my favorite comedians are never just, everybody loves their jokes. Those are the guys we call hacks, where it's like anybody, if you're bland, everybody likes what you do because you're not really pushing any buttons. Jesus is very divisive. He'd walk, half the room would follow him to his death, and the other half might want to kill him.
Oh, they'd be booing.
And doing worse, in fact, than just booing him.
But that's where I think he would jump in and say, I didn't realize I was going to be in Jerusalem. I think he'd hit puns, because I think at the time puns would be very fashionable.
Well, puns were very original at that point.
Yeah, so I think he'd go on them.
He'd point, if a table was heckling, he'd be like, "I'm turning your wine into water."
And then, he would be working that crowd so well. I don't think heckling would work at all. But I just
don't worry. I'm killing you guys, if I'm killing, they say killing in comedy, like when you're doing really well. If I'm killing, don't worry, I can bring you back.
See, that's his closer. No, it can't be his closer. It has to be his middle part of his.
Or his closer could be he might have the power to just he'd see some elderly person laughing and having a heart attack, and then he'd bring him up on stage and go, "Rise and pay your bill."
But God,
And then he walks off the stage.
That's awful pressure on him because he has to make sure he makes you laugh hard enough where that old man is dying. Like he needs to almost make sure that old man has a physical to check out his heart condition. Yeah, awful pressure on the comedian of Jesus Christ. What the hell were we talking about?
Our propaganda film. So we're skipping over the Pale Purge.
Yes.
We're just kind of discuss that. We're going to discuss that people were given the option to leave and took it because we wanted the country to look more like the future. And that was important for branding, for tourism, for international relations. We wanted to be a cultural and physical manifestation of the next century.
Well, we just had some guys in the back, good-looking guys, of course, just having an idea. We could work around the Pale Purge because if you want to, not be accused of hiding history, but we could call it the Pale Prize and phrase it that they had all won a temporary boat. You see, and it was the Pale Prize where a lot of them, however many, 40% took up the free Pale Prize that they all won. You see.
Or how about this? That's not bad because that's exactly what happened to many of them. But then it could also be called maybe the Pale Partition. That's a little less threatening than purge. It sort of suggests a agreed upon divide. That for peace and prosperity with the Pale Partition.
And to be honest, I heard that a lot of them even suggested them themselves. And you decided, well, you know what? I'm not going to force anyone to stay if they want to. That's the rumor going around. That's what we're saying in documentary.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll get that out there. We do have another email coming in from who made it? Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers are look. They weren't a fan of The Dark Knight Rises. They thought it could have done better, so they're actually going to remake it. They're going to remake the sequel to The Dark Knight. This one has to be perfect, and they realized the only way they can make it perfect is maybe they could get the Supreme Leader to do a cameo. I think that was one thing that was missing out of Dark Knight Rises. So, would you be willing to star in the sequel to The Dark Knight? Shows up again.
Yes, and instead of Bane, it will be Beige.
Oh, perfect. Already work. Wait, are you playing Beige?
I'm playing Beige.
Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, you have the physique, 6'7". What's Tom Hardy? 6 foot, maybe?
5'11".
Yeah. Okay. Beige. So you're going full on. I meant cameo, but you are going straight in.
You visited the island. I was born on it.
You sound really pleasant. Even though you went like this, it was just, hello. It's like you're like greeting them at the airport. So Beige. I mean, are we going to maybe use the Dark Knight Rises script and just like rework it a bit to say he's on the island, Batman?
Right. In other words, instead of Gotham being an island modeled after Manhattan, it can be on Jeanland.
Right. And you're still going to have the fight scene where you beat him up.
Right. And one of the Hayex, instead of Marion Cotillard, it will be Selma Hayek playing that role. So she will really be
Selma Hayek.
Oh, Selma Hayek is an honorary citizen of the island.
No, it's just great to have her in the movie.
And so she would play the Marion Cotillard role so that she seduces the pale Batman, but really she's been with me the whole time. Spoiler.
Oh, yeah. No, she, so like we actually find out in the end, she has like a wedding ring or something. She has a tattoo of you on her back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the reveal. So, we're just going to go action on this scene. I imagine because it's set, I assume it's set in Jeanland. So it's more like Batman has gone on a holiday. What's his name? Butler. God, why can't I remember? Butler. Alfred. God. Alfred has told him, look, if you're going to be Bruce Wayne pretending to have a life, you do actually need to go on holiday.
Master Wayne, you shouldn't go to Jeanland. And he'll call it Jeanland, and that's how you know he's actually one of the bad guys.
Wait,
Alfred. He says, Master Wayne, I don't think you should take a trip to Jeanland.
How is he one of the bad guys? Wait a minute. Are you recasting it where you're the good guy and Batman's the villain?
Yes, because he's actually a pale knight, if you look at Christian Bale.
Okay.
So it's actually false advertising. And because, beigeness is so important on our island, you come calling yourself the Dark Knight and then you remove your suit and you're a super pale guy.
Right. Okay. Yes. So I think what you're doing is, I think this is very good for anyone who's listening as well. What's happened here is you're taking the lessons learned from Terminator, where they said in the first movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the villain robot. And then they went, well, what can we do for the second movie? We'll make him good. So you're doing it the opposite way, where now Batman is now the Pale Knight, who's a villain, who just sounds like he's going on holiday and is just acting up. So like Bruce Wayne is on a beach going, look at these people. They can't even understand. Where is Bruce Wayne from? The east side of America. He also has an Irish accent. He's on the phone saying, Jeanland is awful. And then, I don't know, what happened? Do one of the Hayeks come in or?
Well, somebody overhears him calling it Jeanland, and obviously that means he should be expelled from the country.
Yeah, Jeanland, more like piece of shit.
Yeah, and he refuses to obey the laws of the land.
Yeah.
And in his mind, he's like, these are unjust laws. I'm the Batman. I'm going to fight for justice.
What's one of the laws?
Well, he called it Jeanland instead of Jeanland.
Yeah. So he punches out an old woman.
He didn't correct Alfred when he said, Master Wayne, you shouldn't go to Jeanland. And he goes, I know, Alfred, I hate Jeanland. And then all of a sudden somebody hears him say that. And then when we politely ask him to leave for violating one of the sacred rules of the country, he refuses. And he of course thinks he's the good guy.
Okay, so what we do is
fighting and assaulting citizens. And then we have to fight him.
I go up as a citizen and go, excuse me, I know you're new here, but you can't actually say that word. It's Jeanland. So, in fact, you've said it. I'm going to have to tell security. And what does Bruce Wayne say to that?
Well, he does he goes, don't worry, I can pay whatever fine. I'm rich. And that's very gauche and gross.
It's not about the money.
Centers itself on culture and manners and things. And he, and then the woman's husband comes over, seeing that maybe this younger guy.
Wait a minute, I wasn't a woman. I was a man.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said you. I thought because earlier I thought
just called me a woman.
A woman. No. Okay, understood. He punches you right in the face. Sorry, I was thinking back to what we had said a couple minutes ago.
I thought you just called me a woman.
He punches you in the face.
Just immediately. He didn't even offer to pay. He just punches me in the face.
Well, because when you tell him like your money, you stand up for your nation and say, no, money is. It's not about the money, sir. Your money can't buy you out of this. You have to leave.
Yeah, it's not a license.
And then he then assaults you.
Is Bruce Wayne drunk? He must be a bit drunk.
I think he's probably made the mistake of going like, I'll play my Playboy personality so they don't know I'm Batman.
Yeah.
But that gets him in trouble because then when the police come to arrest him and escort him off the island, all of a sudden he thinks, oh, I'm Batman. So he throws a smoke pellet, turns into Batman, and now we have to get, beige. We have to get stacked and beige to
stacked and beige, yes. So I mean, does stacked run in and go? I mean, I might as well put on my normal voice. Apparently, it's a bit womanly, but hey, beige, get your suit on and get up out of bed. We need you. There's some pale guy.
And then what Stack does is sort of pretend like she's on his side. So she's saying, oh, I know how to get you to safety. And he falls for that, but it's actually to meet me.
And what's your line as soon as you meet him? When he walks in and sees you, what's your line? Me
and Selma Hayek have this very deep, passionate kiss that like shocks the audience because it's like, oh, wow, she wasn't helping Batman. She's been with beige the whole time. And then she leaves, and then we have our big fight.
So, I have two questions there. How long is just for the editing? How long is that kiss scene? How long do I leave? How long is that on film?
No, I mean, is there like a breast grope in the middle of the kiss? Yes. But just to sort of give the vibe of like how much of a betrayal this is of Batman. Like you got tricked by two people who are obviously intensely passionate for each other. So it's a 12 to 15 second sort of makeout session in front of Batman.
Okay, so you have Selma Hayek pretending, then she's going to come over. She's going to give you a big passionate kiss that, oh, we've been together all along. You don't say anything to Bruce Wayne or the Pale Knight. You just start kicking his ass.
I walk over. You then see unlike Tom Hardy's portrayal, you see that I am way too big for Batman to handle.
You are towering.
And it's just a total domination.
How long does this fight last? This is just a demolition.
It's about 3 to 4 minutes. It's 3 to 4 minutes. And it ends with us pushing a comatose Bruce Wayne on a raft out to sea, while then Selma Hayek and I make love on the beach as his raft drifts into the Pacific.
And as Genesis plays music, the old 1980s rock band or whatever they were.
Exactly.
Okay, love it, love it. That's
Land of Confusion by Genesis is playing and we go into credits.
Sums up the plot quite well. Yeah, okay, yes, we'll try that out. I mean, surely it's going to do as much as anything with the pale night invasion. It's going to make money. Your birthday, when it comes up, after you filmed this scene or this movie, how are the people going to celebrate?
The great thing about it is, because I'm savvy with my dictatorship, I don't make it about me. I make it a country holiday where people can have parties, and it's not about come to my, penthouse tower and worship me from below. It's simply a day off from work, from school, and people are free to do what they want. The same way, almost like a President's Day in America, where it's like, it's not, you don't go to the Washington Monument or the Lincoln Monument and bow down to it. It's just, hey, nice to have a day off. It's Supreme Leader Day. Everybody go have fun. Are
people allowed to go to your tower and bow down if they want? If they so wish?
Sure. But it's
not.
And I'll wave, if I'm there. I can wave to them, and it's a
do
nice
the royal
treat
wave,
for them.
Little bit of a balcony thing.
Sure.
Do you think they'll see? Because how high up are you? You're a bit.
No, well, it's not. It's like a 20th story, because we're not going like 80-story Manhattan. It's just in this complex. Like I'm in the 20th floor. Where I am, and it's just hey guys.
I have to ask, because I mean, I've been to London, but I mean, I'm from the countryside in Ireland, so like anything that's above 1 story is a bit high up for me. So 20 stories, if you're on the ground floor, I mean, my eyesight isn't great. Am I really spotting you? Because you could be anyone.
Well, we'll have like a jumbotron sort of showing, but it's really not about that. It's more like, it's me, because that's, where the Supreme Leader lives.
Be here? Right.
So it's like, hey guys, and people go, hey, wait, there he is. Okay, great, yay. And if you really need confirmation, you have the jumbotron that will show,
Sorry, when the people said, hey, wait, what were they telling another person to stop doing?
Hey, wait?
Yeah, they said, hey, wait, there he is. Like, what was the other person doing? Were they like scaling the building?
Going like, no, just like looking around, like, oh, I thought we'd see him. Oh, I guess.
Why are they looking around? Look up. That's where he is. Why would they be looking around?
They look up. They don't see me.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, I guess he's not here. Hey, you want to go over there? And it's like, wait. And then the person who's still looking goes, oh, no, there he is.
Yeah, they don't need to be impatient. Just can't believe. Yeah. No, I was just confused.
You know what? If they want to be impatient, that's the key. Supreme Leader Day is not about, it's really, it's about me, but it's really about creating just an association with fun and relaxation and do what you want to do.
So it's kind of like the Purge, but it's like on that one day you can do whatever you want. If you want to be impatient, you can for that one day.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, seems nice. I do have 3 questions left for you, the Supreme Leader. There's a knock on your door. It's from your finance person, Paul. I'm just assuming he works in the finance department.
Sure.
Knockety knock. Hello, Supreme Leader.
Hey, Paul.
Hello there. We have good news. After checking the finances of the country, we have a lot of money in the bank. Your people, they're big fans of yours. They would like to build you something. Maybe a statue. Maybe you don't want a statue. Maybe you want something else. But they'd like to build you something with your name. Look really nice. What could we build you?
And this is once again where I'm showing you the chess game as a dictator that I'm playing.
Right.
I want you to build a retirement facility for our older citizens and name it after me.
Okay, so the older citizens who are like 120, but they look extremely well, to be honest.
No. They're our older citizens are in their 50s.
Why? What? So they're shipped off to the they're shipped off to the retirement home in their 50s. Okay. Wow.
And it's just it's a retirement community, but I want once again, I don't need anything built for me. So this is more of an investment, a spiritual, social investment in loyalty, in that, hey, when you reach 55 or God forbid 65, you have a place to retire to enjoy yourself, to not worry about things. We will take care of you. We're using this surplus money. So, hey, you're hot. Hey, hot 30-year-old, you're not as hot 58-year-old dad now has a place to comfortably retire. You don't have to pay for his retirement home. And you can just say, hey, Supreme Leader really did good by us.
But why is the life expectancy rate so low?
No, it's not. People live late, but obviously as part of okay, I didn't mention this part in the propaganda. There was also an age purge, a page.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. You're taking a page out of the book, right? Okay.
Sure, because we
tyrannical book.
We wanted to create sort of, once again, obviously some older people who look great for their age were kept, but there was, not everybody over 55 could stay as well. A few did, of course, but no, people will live till we're a healthy country, but 60 is the mandatory retirement age for our country.
So I mean, you said in their 50s. So I mean, very realistically,
60 is the mandatory retirement age, but obviously if you hit 55 and you're good to go, you can retire then.
But you're in the retirement, right? At 55, you can be.
Yes.
So you could have people there for 40 years in the retirement home.
Sure. And that would be 40 years of people saying, wow, isn't our country the best? Isn't Supreme Leader so generous? Instead of wanting a statue, he built this retirement home, and it's all about
for the people.
So the 30-year-old attractive women will say, I don't have to spend some of my salary taking care of my 62-year-old mom. It's all taken care of thanks to the generosity of the Supreme Leader. How can I show the Supreme Leader my gratitude as a hot 30-year-old who has so much more disposable income?
Right. Yes, that's true. Yeah, you're also building up the economy in a way.
Exactly.
Selma Hayek's 56, so is she in the home?
Well, she's in the can retire if she chooses category.
Phase. Yes.
But certainly nobody's telling her what to do. She's an honorary, she wasn't even in San Diego during the big one. She simply has honorary citizenship and is always welcome, and is, sort of a, how they refer to the England and the United States having a special relationship because of how close we have a special relationship with Selma Hayek.
Just her, no other country, just Selma Hayek as a person. Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna just ask, just to make sure I know the sort of the levels we're going at. So people in their 60s, Tom Hanks, is he allowed in the country, or is he in the retirement home, or is he out and about?
Tom Hanks can visit.
He can visit, but he can't stay.
No.
Frances McDormand.
No, not welcome, not allowed.
Julianne Moore, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer can visit, like Tom Hanks.
Woody Harrelson.
I've seen him in movies where he gets a lot of sun. If he can visit for sure.
I'll give you three more. Lawrence Fishburne.
An age visa. He can visit, much like, but his condition is obviously not melanin related. It's age related.
Actually, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to give you three more now. Stanley Tucci.
If he wants to cover it for his canceled show, which we're going to say is not canceled anymore, if he wants to, of course, he can visit. I don't think he can reside, but he can certainly visit. I
have two names here, and I hope if I'm going to visit this country, they're here. Jeff Goldblum.
He definitely can visit.
He can't stay?
No.
The style alone, man. No?
He can visit. He could even
leather
film
jacket.
something there.
Have you seen him in like leather jacket and stuff, right? Fantastic. Great style.
Well, we're not, he's not getting the Frances McDormand, Julianne Moore ban.
No. Is that what they're known as? Is that what
they're not allowed in? They're not allowed to visit or stay.
He can play jazz. You can have him playing jazz every week.
I don't like jazz. Jazz is actually band music.
I'm a bit disappointed. Jamie Lee Curtis? Oh my God, there's no...
What I'm going to say right now, unfortunately, is True Lies, Jamie Lee Curtis. Could be a member of the Hayex, could be an honored resident of the country. Halloween 38 / Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jamie Lee Curtis. in honor of your past service, you may
Right.
visit.
Right, gosh, yeah. I to be honest, I think I'd go there if, as long as I know at least one of them are visiting. That's yes.
And
Gosh,
obviously, I mean, you haven't mentioned Mariah Carey would be somebody who is an a citizen.
yes. Is
One of our greatest people in the country.
is there anyone? Actually, there's a knock on the door. Sorry, knockety knock. It's
Oh.
Paul again. Hey there,
Hey,
Supreme
Paul.
Leader. Hey, just to let you know, I'm going on holidays there to Mozambique for a month. But before I go, I actually have an email. It turns out I looked at our finances again. Turns out there was a minus sign. So we didn't have any money actually. We're very, very poor. So just before I get on the plane, yeah, you're just gonna figure out how we're gonna make money quick. So good luck. So Paul's leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, how are we?
Okay.
What
Well,
are we doing?
what we are doing is obviously having less money cuts into our sort of art grants and our ability to make content, which is why our sort of DEF CON, whatever the worst DEF CON is.
You're picking like 5, is it?
I think 1 is like nuclear war. Like I think DEF CON 1
Oh,
is
it goes down.
I think so. So let's just, for sake of argument, let's say DEF CON 1 is the worst. Our DEF CON 1 option is called the porn option. Now, with both our cyber skills, because we are such a content generating, and because of our disproportionately beautiful young population, what we will do in the event of a sort of economic catastrophe, which it seems Paul is saying that we might be in the midst of, our citizens are prepared to make a ton of pornographic content, and using our cyber capabilities, we can jam many of the main porn websites and then make ours the sort of
the top
go-to porn site with, and it's a low pay site, but it's a pay site. As well as, there's also sorts of some crypto elements that I don't want to get into. But that is sort of our economic nuclear option, which is to use our natural resources of sexy, beautiful people and cyber technology that we've developed in secret. And that's our sort of rainy day, breaking case of emergency economic plan.
Well, I kind of figure I'm going looking up porn membership to see how much, so I can get a sort of an idea how much you can charge for a month. And I can also explain to my fiance what's going on. So seven on this brand new laptop. It's suddenly, so yeah, you can get $7 a month. So if you have 10 million people constantly uploading stuff, I mean, you're having at least 10 million videos. I know,
and one of the conditions in terms of getting into the retirement community, which I guess we haven't built now because the money is,
Oh no, that was built. That was already built.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So one of the conditions was, because we want to have as much diversity in our content, those are our old people. Those are our MILFs and GILFs.
Yes.
So, it's important. That's just kind of like, we don't tax you. We don't make you pay, but in a case of an economic, and your national pride, honestly, should make you want to do this. And it's not going to be with somebody unattractive because we've purged those people. So
we've partitioned.
Yeah. That's what I said.
I can edit this.
It sort of came out differently. I think the mic garbled it.
Mics. Yeah.
But so that's, it's obviously a unique approach, but what people don't realize is how much money does how many views and dollars between OnlyFans? I mean, we're shutting down OnlyFans during this. Every citizen has to have, as part of, other countries might do a social security card or a passport or some sort of identifying equipment. Our citizens are required to set up. They can use it if they want, but most people choose not to, but they have to set up an OnlyFans account with content that, once we enter this sort of nuclear winter economically, that goes into place. So then we shut down OnlyFans, and so the only place for pornographic content in the world becomes Jeanland. And so then you just see, and obviously we 90% tax everything during this period only, so that your OnlyFans is $20 a month. Well, okay, we're taking $18 of that 20. Hey, you got 1,000 people to sign up for your $3 a month website. Well, a lot of that's coming to us, and then all of a sudden, and when we're in the black again, we go back to normal time.
Relax that. Just random bit of information that apparently a conservative estimate of how much the porn industry makes is 50
billion a year. By the way, people will be shocked. I have to say, people will be shocked because I'm not personally about these kind of, like, I'm just simply using our resources. A good leader, it doesn't have to reflect my personal values. It's just good leadership. You take, like, if your country has, the
wood.
What are those called? Those metals that are needed for, like, microchips and smart cars and things. Zinc. I forget what they're called, but you dig them up.
Good. Yeah.
Hey, I like walking, but you know what? Other people like cars.
Yes.
So if if we can dig up our resources to make us wealthy off of that, that's what we do, and that's what I'm doing here. It's not that I'm sitting in my penthouse presidential suite looking at porn all day or making porn. No, it's just, this is what we have. We're using what we have, and it's only in the case of an emergency. Because we're generally a classy country, but when it's between bankruptcy and starvation for my people, we unleash
the beast.
Billions of pornographic content items.
Horny, good-looking studs. So you personally are going to stay in the boardroom, not the bedroom, and I'm assuming your brother's getting involved. And
no, he's a family man now. He's in a throuple. He's in a committed throuple.
Yes, none of the Hayex are getting involved either. Or they're still on.
No, because obviously they're still there. It's still security. I mean, a few of them, obviously, they how they look. Some of them, may ask for, if we can spare them. Sure, go release some
serve your
content,
country in
sure.
a different way. Yeah. That should work. As I said, the average or the conservative estimate of how much the porn industry makes in the world is 15 billion. So I think conservatively, you could easily top 20 billion a year coming into the country, right?
We might not need to do it for a year. It might be a 2-month phase, and then all of a sudden, our debts we're cleared. We're good to go.
Perfectly handled by using sex, which is often the case for any life problem. The last question I have for you is: at some point, I assume you're going to have to think. I mean, running a country like this and running it so well is going to take its toll on any man or any god or quasi-god or deity. And hey, you're going to have to think about an heir, right? You're going to have to think about someone, a successor. So do you have any ideas who you think is going to take over in your rule? The only limit I'll put on this is it has to be someone who's actually alive. It can't be your great-grandson.
Sure. No, it's very simple. I have 2 heirs in mind. And like I said, my brother is older than me, and is a very smart guy and knows his limitations. He's not leader. He is, like I said, he's chief operating officer. He's not chief executive officer. So the 2 people that I see, and one of them is sort of an odd one, because he doesn't, even though he's very tall, both of these successors would be tall people.
Right.
But comedian Bo Burnham is one, and he's a very pale person. He had a big hit Netflix special in 2020 during the pandemic. So he showed me that he was obviously somebody of high art and culture capacity and able to capture the attention of millions of people during a crisis.
Do you think his paleness will go against him though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's, I honestly, the reason I mention him as a possibility, he's the number 2 possibility. He's not number 1, but he is somebody who is in consideration, because just like when somebody doesn't think a woman can do something or a person of color can do something, you then see that person is usually so exceptional. And the fact that they are different kind of speaks to a narrative of they had to overcome so much more to get here. Right. They're actually better than the people you might have, because they've had to do so much more to get there, to be a pioneer.
Right.
And he would be, and I think that would send the message to the country that if I were trusting Jeanland to Bo Burnham, that it would speak to, wow, he's an exception. He's, and there's some colorism here. In other words, like a paternalistic colorism idea of saying they're saying, oh, he's one of the good ones.
Right. Okay.
Which is not a great thing to think, but
yeah.
it would be enough in the people's mind to validate him as a choice, because they would say, well, if Supreme Leader is saying that this tall, pale person is worthy, then they must be really worthy.
Yeah. And it is small stepping stones as well. That they are going, oh, well, okay, well, he must be really, really good. I mean, I assume you'll tell him that he's not allowed to have the Pale Purge can't be redone, pulled back.
No, and I think he might be the type of person, we'd have to figure this out, but he might be the type of person to say, oh, I don't want to open the floodgates to pale people, because then we could either have conflict or people will see me as less exceptional. I want to remain a unicorn in terms of my status. But the number one choice would be Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Yes.
And is there any, how would you sell it? I suppose the first question is, how would you sell Jeanland to him? How would you say to him,
well,
this is where you're needed?
I'd say, look, you were married to Lisa Bonet, who was married to Lenny Kravitz. I mean, these are sort of almost Mount Rushmore level beige people.
Right.
So you understand, you have shown an attraction, an affinity for one of our greatest resources in Jeanland.
Yes.
So I think that would appeal to him just culturally. He's an actor. So the fact that we are a entertainment cultural capital, the fact that he is a swarthy sort of tan man who has had family and relationships in the most exclusive enclaves of the beige community.
Yeah.
And then he is a tall, strong, powerful presence. So I think, I don't want to, in fact, I mean, if I don't, and I think this is obviously he doesn't have the divine origin that I have.
No, but he's the successor.
But as a man-made successor, I think he makes perfect sense as a sort of the John Adams the Peter to my Christ.
Yes.
The John Adams to my George Washington.
And he is
the
6'5".
Sammy Hagar to my David Lee Roth.
Right. He's and I like how you cleverly, made sure that these people would be tall enough, however, still a bit smaller than you, because they're both 6'5". So you'll always have it where they'll go, he is quite big, and not even in a demeaning way.
He's not the tallest. He's not the tallest we've ever had.
And they'll go, and someone will go, I think the first Supreme Leader was taller. And when they say think, they know someone's going to be beside him going, oh no, he is. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I thought so. Yeah. It's
exactly.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious when you think about it. So you think Jason Momoa is a pretty good chance to get it. You just have Bo Burnham on the side just in case.
As sort of if Momoa turns it down, I think Bo Burnham, but I don't think Jason Momoa, based on what I said, I think he'd be honored. Not only be honored, he'd be very happy, I think, to take.
Yeah. I think it's in a good location and everything, even just logistically. Yeah, I don't see why.
Yeah.
Is Bo Burnham allowed on the island, even if I know you're retiring now, but do you think he's allowed to stay on the island?
He would only be allowed to stay if he accepted the responsibility and pressures of leadership. I think he can visit. He can have extended visits. He's young, he's talented, but he can't have like a permanent
right. Visa. I know, on the other hand, once you pass off the job to Jason Momoa, it's up to him to do what he wants. But would you suggest, hey, I had my older brother in as my right-hand man, Bo Burnham, he's pale, but he's a good guy. Would you maybe slip that to Jason?
I can't. I don't think I could, because obviously the role my brother played is so. Jason Momoa would have to find his own person like that. Like he'd have to have the personal relationship that he trusts. So I can't. I can't force or suggest like it has to be an organic, sort of relationship. I mean, he seems to like Henry Cavill a lot. There's like memes of them like grabbing each other and hugging on and they've worked together. They're both part of the Justice League.
Yes.
So, and Henry Cavill is certainly a handsome entertainer who would fit in fine. in our world. So could it be a COO Henry Cavill, CEO Jason Momoa? I could see that working.
I could see that. Yeah, no, that wouldn't seem too bad in most situations. So do you think, assuming Jason's now taken over and maybe ringing up Henry, are you going to stay on the island? Do you think the Hayex, would you hope that they, come with you?
Well, like a Secret Service, I obviously wouldn't have the full detail of Hayex, but I would have probably Stacked would stay with me.
Wait, was her name always Stacked, or was it Stacks? Now it's Stacked, like she's gotten older.
No, it's Stacked. Like
it's always been Stacked.
She is stacked.
Yes. I get. Yeah, I thought
it's a present tense. It's not past tense. It's like a present tense statement.
She's
of
stacked.
Fact.
Yeah. No, I get that. So she's staying, and a few,
like a four Hayex detail. That would be typical.
Safety.
I think that would be the precedent I would set. Like when Momoa resigns or retires, he would have the same sort of retirement detail. So
yeah, and you'll stay on the island in your own home.
Sure. And you know what? I might even just to show I practice what I preach. I might even go into a wing of the retirement home that I built.
Oh, nice. Yeah. With the four and then the rest of the incredibly good looking, what do you call them, milfs and gilfs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. And
I guess zaddies. There'd be some older, good looking men as well in the.
What are they called? Zaddies?
It's not a women's home. That's one of these terms I've seen on the internet.
So I wonder wait.
I don't know why it is, but it's like a handsome older gentleman, a sexy older, like that
sexy
kind
daddy.
of
But is that what? Because I get the MILF is obviously mother is to start, and then GILF is grandmother, and zaddy is obviously daddy. But then
I don't know. I think the people on the internet just get bored and try to come up with. I don't know what the origin of it is.
It's really annoys me. Do you know what? This is completely off topic. Do you know what I really hate? Don't understand it. There is. I was going through the channels one day, and WWE wrestling came on. This is completely off topic. I apologize, but this just reminded me of.
No, it's okay. Well, The Rock is also somebody who could be, just to make it relevant. The Rock is obviously,
an
honored citizen.
I'm sure he's so busy he's flying in and out the whole time, but he's there.
Right. He wasn't nominated because he wouldn't have enough time. Like, in other words, Momoa does a few projects, but The Rock is just too busy.
No slowing him down. But there was, I turned on this WWE, and there's a woman there. God, I can't remember her name, but her nickname is the EST, right? EST. And I was sitting there going, okay, what's the EST? Because I'm just wondering what the initials stand for. And what I gathered from watching it for a few minutes was it was the est. So it's like she's the greatest, the strongest, fastest, bestest. But I was like, but surely then her name is the est. But they were like, no, it's the EST. And I was like, no, but that would be like the E stands for something. The est, it's the est, and that's a stupid nickname. Why would you call yourself? I'm the est. You're like, no, it's the EST. You're like, no, but you can't spell out your nickname. Like, I'm the ROCK. No, you're the Rock. No, I'm the ROCK. Yeah, so I don't know why I went on that rant.
She's not invited. She is not invited to the island. That I can tell you.
That's why I'm gonna have to Google Zaddy, because if that doesn't make logical sense, then I would also request they get struck from the island.
It also might be here we go. I can give it to you right now.
That's
Zaddy
in context. Yeah,
is a noun used for handsome, fashionable, sexy man with swag. But I thought it was. I guess it's not for older. I thought, Sugar Zaddy is an older, successful, more than averagely attractive man. Okay, so I always thought Zaddy just applied to, yes, a guy who's older but sexy as fuck.
But that's Zaddy then. Why is it Zad? Like, is it zany? Like he's a zany daddy?
I genuinely think it's just one of those things where it's like
they just made it
people
up.
Were born and didn't want to just say
Saddy.
Yeah.
Or even a handsome daddy is Hattie. It's right there. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're in the wing with milfs and gilfs and zaddies and your 4 bodyguards. That's how you're ending your time on Jeanland. I think it's quite a beautiful ending. It's a very conflict-free ending, if anything. And I mean, kind of guarantee that with Jason Momoa. J.L. Cauvin, I have to ask. By the way, I am pronouncing Cauvin right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying it French, it's like Cauvin, but Cauvin is like is fine.
A few years ago, my fiance was in France. She was in college there for a few months. And I went over visiting. I don't know French, and I get really self-conscious about my pronunciations. I collapse mentally just because I know stupid Irish accent. I can't pronounce THs. And
I'll tell you right now, I was just going to say, my brother's name is Henri. That's like that, but I don't even call him Henri. I say Henri. I say the
Henri.
N.
Yeah,
so saying Cauvin is not offensive to me. It's like when people say Cauvin or Calvin, I go, you're throwing in letters that aren't even there.
Yeah. You're not even making an attempt at this.
Right. So Cauvin is like the French way of saying it, but Cauvin is a perfectly fine.
Well, to be fair, Cauvin I can do. Well, I'm saying it just as Cauvin. Cauvin seems fine. But I remember I went over, and obviously, I mean, everyone knows the French for hello, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to allow you to say it because I can't say it properly.
Bonjour.
Great, right? I went over, and every time I met someone in France, where was I? Besançon. I kept saying bonjour, which is a complete butcher of the fucking word. So they'd say,
that's bonjour. Closer to a country music instrument.
I was just going, bonjour. And they were like, what? And then I immediately went red-faced saying, oh my God, how do I screw up the one word everyone, the thickest Aegis in the most backwards place in the world would know what French is in hello, or hello is in French. But anywho, J.L. Cauvin.
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything you want to plug, or we can plug, or you can plug?
Oh, sure. I mean, if people want to, like, I have 2 podcasts every week. One's called the Righteous PK podcast. That's like my personal podcast. And I do a podcast as Donald Trump called Making Podcasts Great Again. I'm on all social media platforms. I have various albums. I have a special coming out hopefully in the next month. So, you know, if you just go to jlcomedy.com, jlcomedy.com, you can find links to all my social media, my YouTube, my podcast, all that stuff. So that's kind of a one-stop shop.
That's great, because I want to say thank you again for letting me visit the paradise of beige, sexy people, and that was Jeanland.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank everyone who has listened and has managed to get through the whole episode with me. And I will be back with another episode, I presume, in either a week or in a few days, however long it takes me to do another one. And before I go, I just have to ask the Supreme Leader just one last question. Is there any words of wisdom you want to leave people with? Anything you learned?
Just get some sun, and just that's the best thing. Even the people who aren't beautiful can still get some sun. Vitamin D is healthy for you, and it just might tip the scales into letting you visit Jeanland.
You are making direct eye contact with me right now. This is the first time this has happened throughout the entire podcast.
I can't tell. I can't, because I'm like, sometimes I check myself, then I look at and then I look in the camera.
You're comparing your face to mine. Okay. That's, yeah.